Hello and welcome back to Three Things with JR. I am glad to be back. I missed you last week. I hope you missed me. I didn't have time to record an episode last week. I've been pretty busy actually, and I didn't really intend to skip last week's show. Things just kind of got away from me. I did sit down and write what I want to talk to you about tonight, the main subject of the three things tonight. I wrote it. I sat, and it actually took quite a while, and by the time I was done writing it, I didn't have time to record it. I needed to go to bed. It was just that late at night. And what else is keeping me away from recording new episodes of this show? Rehearsals for Something Rotten, playing disc golf, and work. Like, that's what I do these days. Rehearsals for the show are going fantastic. We've been doing a lot of choreography, and for some reason, I have a tendency to, when I tell people about it, I mispronounce that word as now I can't mispronounce it. Choreography. I've told several people we had a choreography rehearsal, and I don't know why I'm calling it choreography. I think it might have something to do with our choreographer being named Corey. So there's something about that screws my brain up, and I call it choreography. But no, choreography, meaning I've been learning to dance and sing and stuff, and it's been great. We got costume fittings done last week. That was cool. The only negative side of rehearsals has been when people are missing from rehearsal, and there's been one in particular who hasn't been there, and I've been really bummed because she's so good in what she does in this show, and I kept getting annoyed that she wasn't around because I'm there every rehearsal I can possibly be there. I'm there, and it kind of sucks not having Mary there. But I found out recently she's been dealing with some health stuff, and so that kind of explains it. And it sounds like she is on the mend, and hopefully will be feeling better soon and back at rehearsal. I really look forward to the whole troupe being together because this show is really, really coming together well, and it's going to be amazing. I've got family coming in from out of town, from faraway places like Florida and Iowa, people flying in to come see this show. So you should probably come see the show too. Tickets are available now at waynetheater.org. Get your tickets now. There's 10 shows to choose from. There's absolutely no excuse for being too busy to go to the show. You got 10 different shows to choose from. So make sure you get there. When I'm not at rehearsal, I'm probably playing disc golf if I'm not at work. Disc golf, I've been playing really, really well lately. Now, I'm usually a slightly above average sort of player. Like when I get together with the rest of the disc golf club, let's say we have 20 or 30 people playing on a Friday night or a Saturday morning, I'm usually going to come in the top half, but just barely above average, right above the middle. That's typically as good as I play, but not lately. Lately, I've been playing near the top. I came in second place last night out of about 25 people. And I'm not used to that. That was awesome. I was only a couple missed putts away from like winning the whole thing last night. And so mainly it's just not making all the little mistakes. And clearly I need to work on my putting to become the elite 47-year-old disc golfer that I want to be. But there you go. So it's a thing I do. It's not just a fun thing I do. Like I feel like I have to. It's kind of like, I feel like I have to perform in a band and play drums. I feel like I have to be on the stage performing in musicals, and I have to play disc golf. It's just things that I have to do because they are what drives me right now. Work has also been awesome, and I've been absolutely killing it at work. I truly, truly love my job, and I'm excited to be there every day. I feel so lucky to have that kind of job where I am constantly challenged. I'm constantly having fun. I love the people I work with. I've been staying late many days because I want to, even though it might mean I get to play less disc golf. And when I'm done at the end of each day, I'm mentally drained. That's how I know I had a good day at work. And it's why I've been unable to record a podcast for the last 2 weeks, but I'm finally here able to do it tonight. I've been home alone a lot the last 2 weeks. Kiki has been in Florida doing horse stuff, and for several days after learning of Taylor Hawkins' death, the drummer for the Foo Fighters, I stayed up pretty late watching Foo Fighters music videos on YouTube at top volume. It's a good thing I live out in the country so that I can crank the volume. If I lived in town, which I often think I wish I lived in town, one downside to living close to a lot of other people is that I wouldn't be able to crank the Foo Fighters at 11 on the volume knob at 11 o'clock at night. But I was able to do that. I watched Taylor's last performances before his death, as well as many of their older videos. And I was so overcome with emotion just thinking about the fact that he was no longer with us. It is just so sad. I mean, I don't know how long it will take the Foo Fighters to be able to move on. I don't know how long it'll take me to move on. I don't see the Foo Fighters stopping, though. I mean, Kurt Cobain's death didn't stop Dave Grohl from becoming who he is today. And I don't see, as painful as losing Taylor Hawkins is, I don't see it stopping Dave Grohl from progressing on, going forward, and still blessing the world with his music. But what are the Foo Fighters going to do for a drummer? I mean, they do have a drummer in the band. And as cool as it would be for Dave Grohl to take over the rhythm section, I don't think that's what's going to happen. I'm sure there are a lot of drummers out there capable of doing the job, but I have what I think is the best solution, the best possible replacement for Taylor Hawkins. Her name is Nandi Bushell. She's 11. There's already videos of her drumming Foo Fighters songs alone at home, and she challenged Dave Grohl to a drum off, and he did. So she has drummed with Dave Grohl on Zoom. And the Foo Fighters brought her live on stage with them at the Forum in LA. She's got the chops. She's 11. Just think what it would be like if she was in the band. She'd probably be a positive influence on the rest of the band. The way she screams with joy when she's ripping it on the drums, it makes me cry with tears of joy. In fact, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to actually play this video. It's her video. It's been viewed over 5 million times on YouTube. This is Nandi Bushell, I hope I'm saying her right, challenging Dave Grohl to a drum off. Now, as I just mentioned, she went on and did actually have that drum off with Dave Grohl. But this is her challenging him. And we're just going to play the whole thing, and I'm going to react to it. And maybe I'll try not to cry while I'm actually watching this, because it is fantastic. All right, here we go.
Dave Grohl, I challenge you to a drum off. I hope you enjoy my cover of Everlong by Foo Fighters.
Okay, how great is that accent? I didn't even realize she was British. This is awesome. She's also adorable, by the way. She's got this great little hairdo with like these big poofy things in her hair, right behind her purple headphones. She's wearing like a white Under Armour top with a cool necklace. She's got these armbands around her upper arms and this shiny purple skirt with like purple things around her ankles. She's drumming barefoot. And to watch her face just kills me. She is having an incredible time drumming this song. It also looks hard because what she's doing right now is playing the hi-hat with both hands, and then with the right hand she goes down to the snare, and it is really hard, and you take some stamina to do that. It works your arms out big time, and it's clearly hard for her, but she's got it. Oh, she's gearing up as the song builds to the chorus. Oh yeah. Okay, that was badass what she just did. There's no way I could do that. It would take many hours of practice for me to get anywhere close to what she just did. And if I just played this song for you without telling you, you wouldn't know if it was her or Taylor Hawkins doing the drums. She is spot on. Oh boy, this hi-hat section right here is really working it out for her. All right, it's in this section she starts absolutely screaming. Oops, hit the wrong button. There we go. She hasn't started screaming yet. Right now, she's twirling the drumsticks like she's the badass that she is. She's got one in her mouth. She's flinging the other one around. Here we go. Back to the hi-hat. All right, now when she gets so into it, she can't control herself. Oh my God. Oh, that girl is so cute and so good at what she just did. Holy shit. If I could only drum like that. I would pay double whatever the Foo Fighters charge for tickets to go see a show with Nandi Bushell as their drummer. I mean, I have seen the Foo Fighters live one time in Vegas at the Consumer Electronics Show, and it was everything I wanted it to be. But I think it might be even better with her on the kit. So there you go, Dave. You're probably already, maybe not already. It's pretty soon, right? It's maybe too soon for Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters to be actually considering who will be the next drummer. Maybe they're still considering whether there will be another drummer, but when it's time to think about that, please consider Nandi Bushell, and I hope you already are. So there you go.
Nothing I can say. Change your mind and stay. So I'll see you later today.
Okay, on to the actual subject of this week's three things. 8 years ago, 2014, it was late at night, probably a Friday or Saturday night. I was newly single, and I was trying new things, exploring new passions, and working my side job. I was in my red Ford F-150, and I had just dropped off a third-year UVA student at their apartment near the UVA corner. And I'm heading down Wortland Street. It's a block off of Main Street in Charlottesville. This is an area I've come to know much better as an Uber driver. I had no reason to drive these particular streets until I became an Uber driver. But this is not about me being an Uber driver. That's for another show. I was driving down Wortland Street towards the light at 10th when I noticed a building I hadn't ever really seen before. It was a brick building painted a brilliant white with a big logo, and it was this logo that caught my attention. Red Hub Food Company, Catering, Barbecue. They had me at barbecue. The place had no windows, and the solid wood door was closed, as was the establishment. Now, I love pulled pork barbecue. It's certainly one of my favorite things, especially when done right. And this place was new, a barbecue joint I had not yet tried. I made a mental note to find out more about this place and to find a time to visit when it was open, which was a challenge because Red Hub's hours weren't exactly conducive to mine. They didn't stay open late for dinner hours, and they seemed like more of a lunch place, really, and they were nowhere near my day job at Crutchfield, so I was gonna have to find a time to get down there on, say, a Saturday during the day. Took me a few weeks, but I did find time to go check out the joint that would become my side gig for 3 years. I walked in the front door to a small eatery with a counter and a menu board and an open view to the kitchen in back. It was right there. I could see the ovens, the fryers, the counters, the dishwashing station, the sweet tea dispenser, and I knew at that moment that I wanted to work there. I knew in my gut that I would work there, that this would be the place I would learn how to make the kind of food I loved most. I figured I should actually eat the food first, just to be sure, but I knew it was going to satisfy. I ordered a platter, pulled pork, mac and cheese, baked beans, 2 hush puppies, chips, and a drink, sweet tea. The sauces were on the table. While I waited for my food, I observed the inner workings of Red Hub. I watched the people in the kitchen plating the food for delivery to the hungry people seated in the small dining area. I watched the guy at the counter. It was clear he was the owner. He was showing somebody else how to work the register, and he was obviously very interested in how happy his guests were. The food came, and I went to town. I started with the pulled pork, no sauce. I was in love. Whatever they did to their pork should be the way all pulled pork is served. It didn't need sauce. It was juicy. It was sweet with strong flavors I could not place. It was perfect. But as I am a huge fan of barbecue sauce, I had to try the 4 different sauces available. They had a mustard-based South Carolina Low Country sauce, a vinegary North Carolina Lexington sauce, the Red Hub signature sauce, and a sweet, spicy, brown, sugary, thick sauce that quickly became my favorite. I finished off the pork with that sauce. I even put the sauce on the mac and cheese. It was that good. The beans did not require sauce. The hush puppies came with a spicy, sweet syrup for dipping. I had never had hush puppies like that. Oh my God, to my surprise. The hush puppies came with a sweet, spicy syrup for dipping, and I had never had hush puppies like that. Oh my God. And to my surprise, maybe the best thing on the plate, other than the pulled pork, was the chips, fried in-house and seasoned with what I assume was a custom seasoning blend. But I later came to find out it was just a pre-mixed chicken seasoning out of a bottle. So there you go. It was all so good. I definitely wanted to know how pulled pork went from being pig to being pork. I wanted to know how to do mac and cheese like that. What did they put on those chips? What's in the hush puppy dipping sauce besides syrup? How do you make these sauces? I had to know. I had been planning to go up to the owner guy when I was done eating, but as I was eating, he was making the rounds, visiting each customer to see how they were enjoying their food. When he got to me, he noticed I was playing Word Feud on my phone as I ate. For those that don't know, Word Feud is a Scrabble game. It's kind of like Words with Friends, only way more Scrabbly and less Candy Crushy. It's way better, by the way. Or it might have been a game of chess I was also playing on my phone. Either way, Ryan Hubbard asked me about it. We struck up a conversation around Scrabble, chess, pork, chips, sauces, his new business, Red Hub Food Company, the fact that they had only been opened a month or 2, and that things were going well so far. I was presented with the perfect chance to ask for a job, and I took it. I told Ryan I'd been looking for a place like this. I was very interested in learning how to make food this good. I wanted to work in the kitchen, to learn from the pros. I really had absolutely no idea how it was done, restaurant style. I mean, I know how to cook, but not like this. I told him I was available to work after 5 each day and all day Saturday and Sunday. I made sure to let him know that I didn't care what he paid me. I wasn't doing it for the money. He seemed very interested, but told me they weren't busy enough yet to hire any more people. But check back with him in a few months. He gave me his card, and when I was done eating and making my chess and Scrabble moves, I left. The minute I got home, I sent Ryan an email re-explaining why I wanted to work for him, thanking him for talking with me and even considering it, and that I would most definitely be checking back with him over the next few months, That's exactly what happened. I sent him a few more emails. I came in to interview, and I got the job. I got a shirt and a hat and a part-time job that would teach me a lot, work me physically harder than any other job I've ever had, and satisfy all of my culinary educational desires and then some. That's how I got the job at Red Hub Food Company. Now, here's 3 things about working in a barbecue joint. Thing 1. Damn, it's a lot of work. I mean, I knew in my head that working in a kitchen was not a cushy job, but this was a more physical job than any I had ever had, and I had painted houses and worked in warehouses. I had no idea just how much a tub of pulled pork weighs. A lot. And it's greasy, and you got to put it up on a shelf about head height in a refrigerator unit that's already full of stuff. I spent a lot of time moving stuff around inside that cooler. Taking the trash out, carrying out fryer grease to the grease trap out back, carrying trays of raw pork butts out to the smoker, unloading and stacking wood for the smoker, loading and unloading the catering vans, moving kegs of beer, washing dishes, stocking shelves when the delivery truck arrives. There's a lot of physical work. I was happy and willing to do any and all of the grunt work necessary. I really wanted to know all I could about how to run a kitchen at a restaurant like this. During my 3 years there, I spent most of my first year in the kitchen doing some catering jobs on the side. During my second year, I was doing more catering than I was working in the kitchen. I loved the catering job, despite it being the absolute hardest work I've ever done. Each one was different, with different load-ins and load-outs, different customer demands, different groups of people to please. We worked in some really upscale places, and we worked in some random places that were a lot less than upscale. We did a lot of work for UVA events. I got really good at leading a team of caterers, even though I was never actually the guy in charge of a particular catering event. I was often the most knowledgeable and capable Red Hub employee at any particular event. When I started working at Red Hub, I had actually recently lost a bunch of weight. I had been separated from my ex-wife for about a year. My divorce was becoming final, and I had been running, eating healthy, and feeling good. And working at a restaurant like Red Hub, surrounded by all of those wonderful foods, could have been my downfall, but it wasn't, because of how physical the work was, and I loved it. Thing 2. God, was the food good. Let's start with the pork. I had no idea how smokers worked, how low of a temperature you cook pork to get that smoky flavor, that juicy tenderness that melts in your mouth. What goes into the dry rub before you throw the pork butt onto the smoker? I learned all that stuff and more. I found out that my favorite part of the cooked pork was part that many of our customers never got to eat. When the pork shoulders come off the smoker, often the outside was like a charred black. It kind of looked like burnt, but not so bad that it tasted burnt. It was black, but not actually burnt. And as we pulled the pork apart, we were supposed to remove the blackest parts of the pork. It looked bad to have what appeared to be burnt pork mixed in with the perfectly marbled meat. I tried a bite of some of the charred parts and was immediately overtaken with ecstasy. This was the best thing I had ever eaten. It didn't taste burnt at all. It was a thick glob of meat, fat, and smoked dry rub. It was the outside of that pork shoulder where all the dry rub was lovingly patted into all of the nooks and crannies of the meat. And it was the outside that got smoked to a crisp, where it was like a bark. And it was the meat and the fat and the gristle and all of that dry rub all together, coming together to make, basically, it was the fatty gristle it was like meat candy. That's the best way I could describe it. It was like a flavor bomb of epic proportions, and I was absolutely hooked. From that day forward, I made sure that instead of tossing the gristle as they had been doing, it got saved for me to take home. If it was me pulling the pork, it was easy. I just threw it in a little plastic container and took it home. If it was anybody else, I made sure they knew, don't throw that away. Save that for JR. And for the next 2 years, I always had a container of it in my fridge at home to snack on. I can still taste it in my mouth right now as I describe it to you, even though I haven't had it in many years. They had a book of recipes for everything, and none of it was a secret if you worked there. So I got to learn how to make Red Hub's mac and cheese, beans, collard greens, succotash, ribs, brisket, hush puppies, fried chicken, 4-bean salad, and more. And by the way, 4-bean salad made the Red Hub way was so much better than I ever thought it could be. I mean, I had watched it get made there in Red Hub. I had made it myself, and I thought, this isn't for me. What are we talking here? Green beans and kidney beans and chickpeas, whatever they put in 4-bean salad, I don't remember anymore. But I do remember how great it was, and I miss that almost as much as the gristle. Thing 3. Do I want to run a restaurant? I think so. Working at Red Hub definitely taught me a lot about what it takes to run a successful restaurant, how much work it is, how to overcome challenges on a daily basis, staffing issues, kitchen disasters, transportation issues, how to think on your feet at a catering job, how to make the same food the same way every time. These were skills I didn't know I had when I started there, but the more I worked there, the more I wanted to live in that world. I wanted to run a restaurant someday, maybe a food truck. I was starting to feel like that could be a reality. The biggest roadblock I had to living that kind of life was just how good I was, and still am, at my day job, and how much I love it. It pushes me and challenges me and rewards me in other ways, and has been doing so for 26 years now. I can't imagine my life without my job at Crutchfield. I absolutely love it. So, when Ryan Hubbard and I started talking about the possibility of me becoming his restaurant manager for Red Hub, as well as the new restaurant he was opening up a few blocks away, well, I had a lot to think about. I really, really wanted to make a move, to take on a whole new job that would help me grow in ways I never could at Crutchfield. I'd be responsible for hiring all the right people, running the day-to-day operations of 2 restaurants, problem solving, working long hours, and making a new restaurant a success. Ryan seemed to like me, my work ethic, my willingness to do whatever it takes, and my fresh perspective on the restaurant business. So much so that there was actually an offer on the table. An offer that would pay me roughly the same as what I was making at the time at Crutchfield. That made this decision a tough one. The biggest issue for me would be the hours. There would be a lot of them, and I wouldn't have anywhere near as many opportunities to take time off. There wouldn't be as much disc golf. There wouldn't be time for something rotten rehearsals and playing softball. I mean, it would be a lot of more than I was working at Crutchfield. Also, the uncertainty of the restaurant business. Lots of them fail, and even the ones that succeed don't really succeed for quite a while in many cases. My job at Crutchfield was stable, with a good company that will be around for a long, long time. I've got a lot of seniority at Crutchfield. My job is certainly more than 40 hours a week, but I would be going from like 40 or 50-hour work weeks to 70 to 80-hour work weeks if I made this jump. In the end, I decided to stay put at Crutchfield. It was one of the toughest decisions I ever had to make. And I still believe that I would have been successful running restaurants if I had chosen that path. Even with the hurdles the pandemic provided, we would have figured them out. There would have been some rough days, but we would have figured them out. I mean, as it turned out, they figured it out without me. So the restaurants were solid. They were here to stay. And to be at the helm, to get them through that would have been kind of cool to have that feather in my cap. But I didn't go that route. Instead, I stayed at Crutchfield, and my job at Crutchfield has only grown more satisfying in the years since making that decision. So it probably was for the best for all involved. I do miss it, though. I haven't worked at Red Hub for several years now. I feel like if I ever need another side gig or a refresher on the restaurant business and how to make amazing food, I'll just stop in to grab lunch on a Saturday at Red Hub or Farm Bell Kitchen when Ryan is there, and I'll hit him up for a job again. And I'll be happy to do whatever job needs to be done.
People who love should always love people. People who care put their souls on the line. People of faith have something to live for. The people who hate are just wasting their lives.
That's it. 90 episodes of this show in the books. Thank you so much for listening. Please go get your tickets to Something Rotten. WayneTheater.org. Meet me out on the disc golf. Give me a call at Crutchfield. I'll sell you a stereo. I love talking to you. Sorry I was away last week. We'll make sure to get another one out next week. Adios. I love you all.
Everybody say